That is the finest, most believable oration on the most unbelievable set of facts attempting to cover up a cold-blooded murder that I have heard in 36 years before the bar.
I'm going to objection, Your Honor.
I knew you would
Counsel
object
has
to
no
that.
right importing his own long history into the course of this argument.
Counsel's long history before the bar is apparent on his face. The court takes judicial notice of that.
Thank you, Your Honor. What he didn't tell you about this dear soul who he called a fiancé, I thought to have a fiancé, at least where I come from, the woman has to say yes. This woman said no and paid for it with her life. Common sense is what makes the jury system work. And if you can buy this unreasonable, unlikely, illogical chain of events incurred and made up and rolled into this lovely package by Mr. Serra from San Francisco, you have left your common sense in the hallway. And the jury system, who would want to see a football game that had no rules in it? Just get them back there and give them knives and guns and the balls and say, get to the other end the best way you can. We're going to the Sugar Bowl. Nobody would buy a ticket to such a match. Nobody would want to see it. You have rules. And if you break one, it's 5 yards. If you break another one, it's 10 yards, 15 yards, half the distance. And if it's bad enough, out of the game. Lies like that. That's what this court's all about. I submit to you that vengeance is not our business here. Revenge is not our business here. Your business and my business, and the court's business and the law's business, is to enforce the law and make the rules work so that Trudy Doyle and all the diamonds and you and myself and everyone else can play the game of life without an interference from other people. I lay this case upon your heart and conscience, and I submit to you that your verdict should be guilty of murder in the first degree. Thank you. I was once introduced to an audience by a lawyer who kept his hands in his pocket. He introduced me as Mark Twain, a humorist who was really funny, a very rare creature indeed. I was struck dumbfounded by this thunderbolt. Never have I had a compliment so well phrased, or so richly deserved. I said, we have a much rarer creature in our midst than a humorist who's funny. We have a lawyer who keeps his hands in his own pocket. You know, I've always thought that most lawyers, myself included, have a tendency to say more than is absolutely necessary. I remember the young lawyer who was defending a fellow for biting another fellow's ear off in a fight. There was only one witness. And when he got him on cross-examination, he said, now I want to know, did you see my client bite this man's ear off? Which the witness said, no, sir, didn't see that. Then he said, how can you be so all-fired sure he bit it off? How you know that? He said, I saw him spit it out. This demand for a decent wage and an 8-hour day is not a demand to shirk work as has been claimed in this case. Gentlemen of the Commission, there is only one standpoint from which you have a right to approach this question. That is what will make the best American citizen to build up the best nation that we can be proud of. The laborer who asks for shorter hours asks only for a breath of life. Day after day, through these weeks, these strange black faces, as they sit here looking at you, feeling that all the hopes and fears are in your keeping. Their hearts go out to you. Their eyes are fixed on you. All the hope that they have as human beings in the world rests upon your verdict. But if your verdict shall be not guilty,
there are still those who will kneel tonight and thank their God for the life and reputation you have saved. Out on our broad prairies where men toil with their hands, out on the oceans of the world where men are tossed and buffeted about by the waves, in the mills and in the factories and deep down under the earth, thousands of men, women, and children will kneel tonight and ask their God to guide your hearts.
Phone in tonight. He's going to come right here. And he took a piece of chalk out. I said, he's going to say, in the pits of degradation. He said, I don't want y'all to be persuaded by that in any way. Think about a story that down in Mississippi we have what we call the justice court. It's the lower court where the fellow is not a lawyer and he tries people, and then if they don't like that, they appeal the case up to the circuit court. A few years ago, when I was district attorney down there, I had a Ms. Ladner. And I tried her down in the justice court, and the judge promptly convicted her. And she appealed it up to the circuit court. Got up in front of the jury in the big court, the judge, and her lawyer put her on, and she testified. And I got up in absolute amazement when I got up to cross-examine her. I said, Ms. Ladner, do you remember when we were down in the justice court in Judge Ladner's court about 3 months ago? Yes, sir, I remember that. Do you remember that you testified down there? Yes, sir, I remember that. Didn't you testify to just the opposite down there of what you just told this jury up here today? She said, why, certainly I lost it down there. Hope you don't think I'm going to say the same.